Hello friends, my name is Michelle Fondin and I'm an author and speaker, and my latest book is Chakra Healing for Vibrant Energy, exploring your 7 energy centers with mindfulness, yoga, and Ayurveda. And welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I'm totally relaxed. I had a massage today, so I'm feeling very zen. I am still my exuberant self, but feeling a lot more relaxed today. I wanted to continue our conversation about spirituality, spiritual awakening, transcendence, with our topic today, which is transcending the ego. So in my meditation classes, I teach about the subtle body, the physical body, and the causal body. And the subtle body is comprised of the mind, the intellect, and the ego. And a lot of philosophies out there really teach you that you have to kill the ego. The ego is a bad thing and you have to smash it and make sure that you don't pay any attention to the ego. Well, the ego is a part of who you are while you're on earth. And for some people, as you may know, and this might be you at times, it's me at times, but at times the ego tends to take over. But the ego is also your personality here on earth. It's the way you express yourself in the outer world, and it's part of your personality. So it's really hard to go through this transcendence and awakening and say, I want to crush the ego and smash the ego. And if you tend to want to do that, you might notice that the ego gets bigger and louder and more aggressive, and it tends to fight for its right to stay. And so a lot of times it's really counterproductive to say, I gotta get rid of the ego completely. I'm on this spiritual journey. I'm into spiritual awakening. I'm into transcendence, and I want to just crush that ego. And what I teach in my class is that you need to be gentle and kind to your ego. The idea through transcendence and spiritual awakening and meditation practice is to bring awareness to the ego. It is the most constricted part of who we are on this earthly plane. As you walk through life, it tends to be the more constricted part. And I like to say the ego is like the 2-year-old child in all of us. The 2-year-old child doesn't know the difference between me and mine and everybody else's. If you've ever seen 2-year-olds at play, they usually grab their toy and they're like, no, this is mine. This is my toy. This is my mom. This is my dad. This is my house. This is my room. They say me and mine an awful lot, right? So the mantra of the 2-year-old, the mantra of the ego is what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine. It's all mine, right? And then you enter into this minefield of everything is mine. It's all mine. What's in it for me? And as you go along this spiritual journey, you shift from what's in it to me to what's in it for you. But in order to shift from what's in it for me and to make that shift to what's in it for you, you have to first embrace what's in it for me. Does that make sense? So you need to embrace the ego. You need to honor the ego. You need to bring awareness to ego consciousness. You need to be nice to ego consciousness and like mothering that 2-year-old or fathering that 2-year-old, you gotta gently cajole it into behavior that you like, not behavior that you dislike. So it will behave nicely and it won't overtake you. Because like I said, if you've ever tried to ignore a persistent 2-year-old, they just get louder and louder and louder and louder, and they throw themselves on the floor and they throw temper tantrums. And it's when you pay attention to that toddler, that 2-year-old, that 3-year-old, that things get better for you and that child. Things go a whole lot smoother when you actually pay attention to the child that's throwing the temper tantrum. And the same goes for your ego. When you're paying attention to the ego and you're saying, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, I know you're there, I know that you're trying to look out for my highest good. but sometimes you're not really looking out for my highest good, but I'm paying attention to you. What is it to be aware and to transcend ego consciousness? To be aware and to transcend ego consciousness is to be the observer, to be the witness to that ego consciousness, to be the observer to the ego, and to really observe what's going on and what tends to go on with the ego. So if you call up a friend that you haven't spoken to in a really long time and you're super excited to speak to this friend, and you're telling your friend all the wonderful things that have been happening in your life, or maybe you're telling them all the not wonderful things that have been happening in your life, and you're talking and talking and talking and talking, and then after 15 minutes, you get this little thought in your head that says, oh, wait a minute, I haven't asked them how they're doing. And so that is bringing awareness to ego consciousness. It's bringing awareness to, like, it's not all about me and mine. Maybe it's about you and yours, or maybe it's about us. Maybe it's about the we and the collectivity, and maybe it's just not all about me. And so that's bringing awareness to ego consciousness, and it's bringing awareness to that inner child that needs the attention, and it's saying, you know what? Maybe I can share today. Maybe I can be receptive today. Maybe I can listen today. Maybe it doesn't have to be about me and mine all the time. Maybe it can be about me sometimes, but most of the time I'd like to be able to give and to serve and to create a higher state of purpose for myself and for others, so that I'm not so ego-driven, so that I'm not so self-centered. And I like to use those words occasionally. I don't like to use those words all the time, because it's good to be self-aware, and it's good to take care of yourself. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about how people-pleasing is dishonest. And a lot of us out there as earth angels, a lot of us out there as really sensitive souls tend to be people pleasers. And you might nod your head in agreement with me because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of us are called codependents as well, right? And I talk about that in a lot of the videos that I've done on alcohol addiction and recovery, and the roles that we play in that dynamic dance of an unhealthy relationship through addiction. When we think of ourselves and we nurture ourselves and we take care of ourselves and we pay attention to the ego and say, I see you there, I know you're there, I hear you there. However, we're going to make a better choice here. We're going to make a higher choice here. We're going to make a choice that is better for our destiny together. It's better for the evolution of our consciousness together. And we're going to make that decision together. And I'm not trying to ignore you, and I'm not trying to fight you. I accept you for who you are, ego. And we're going to collectively make this decision to do this instead of this. So when you're wrapped up in yourself and your worry about what's in it for me and mine, and why are these people treating me this way, or why am I not getting the promotion this week, or why are my friends calling other people instead of me to go out, or why is the person that I like paying attention to another person instead of me, and why don't I ever get anything? And instead of placing the focus on that, we're placing the focus on what's in my highest good. What is in the highest good of myself and others and the collective? So it's really shifting. So it's becoming the witness, becoming the observer, becoming aware, and consciously bringing your awareness to the behavior of the ego when it's misbehaving, when it's starting to misbehave just a little bit, and not looking out for your highest good. So it's nurturing it, it's treating it with kindness and gentleness, and it's not judging the ego too harshly, and it's not trying to smash it or obliterate it, because it still is a part of who you are. It still is. It's not going to go away in this lifetime. It's really not. We can transcend the ego in a way that allows us to continually be the observer, continually be the witness, continually look at ourselves from a higher space. But the ego is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It can behave itself, but it's not going to go away for good. Okay, so now I'm going to prepare you for what's to come. So the more you meditate, the more you're in this silent space within, the more you do clearing, like chakra clearing, see? In my book, I have chakra meditations to help you do chakra clearing. And in the audiobook version, I actually read those guided meditations to you. And if you listen to them on a daily basis, then, and there's one for each day of the week, go figure. There's 7 chakras, 7 days of the week. You could listen to a guided meditation each day of the week. You could start on Sunday with the 1st chakra and end Saturday with the 7th chakra. And you can continually do it. There's no harm in like doing the chakra meditations each week. So as you're doing these clearings, as you're becoming the observer and the witness through quiet observation, meditation practices, prayer, and silence, because silence is God's one and only true voice. And so when you're doing all of these practices, you might notice something happening. And you're not going crazy, I promise you. You're absolutely not going crazy, but something is going to actually happen to you. So you've set the intention to transcend the ego. And you're like, okay, now I'm going to work on transcending my ego because I'm entering into a different space. I'm entering into a more spiritual space. I'm entering into a space of higher awareness and higher consciousness. So I'm setting the intention to kind of let go of that 2 or 3-year-old child within me that wants everything for me and not for anybody else. And it's the 2 and 3-year-old child within us. And there's nothing wrong with that. A toddler, a child, a preschooler has no cognizance that there really is a difference between what's me and mine and what is everybody else's. So they're doing it with pure innocence. And so as a child, it comes from a place of innocence. And when we do it, we have more cognizance of it now. So now that we're awakening to our spiritual selves, to our higher selves, to a different way of thinking, being, acting, and seeing, it does become more detrimental to us as time goes on, just because we have that awareness. And so we can make the conscious choice to do something different. However, as you're awakening to this, things will start to happen. So divine consciousness, God, your angels and guides, will give you tests. Oh, yay, joy, yay, yay. They'll give you tests. And so you think like, yay, I'm on a spiritual path. I've got it all figured out. I'm good to go. I am transcending. And then out of nowhere, a whole bunch of people show up that push your buttons like crazy. A whole host of circumstances, situations, and events come to you that start to push all of these buttons that make your ego go berserk. And you're like, what the heck is happening? So you find yourself like irritated and angry and upset, and you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck is happening? Like, my ego is on steroids now. I set the intention to transcend the ego and look at things from a higher place and a higher consciousness, and I'm trying to do good for the greater good, and I'm trying to think about you and us instead of me and mine. But now everything is happening that is making me reverse. And you feel like you're going crazy insane. And you feel like you're going backward completely on your spiritual journey. You're like, what the heck is happening here? So as you are going through the evolution of growth, of expansion, universal consciousness is going to give you these mini tests and sometimes these really big tests to see if you are practicing the tools that you've learned to manage the new skills that you have. And so it can truly feel like you're going crazy. It can truly feel like, oh my gosh, I am way worse off than when I began this journey in the first place. So I might as well just go back to the way I was. It was a lot more comfortable over there. It was a lot easier over there. It was a lot better to not be aware. I really love to go back to that place. Could I just go back there for a little bit, please? It's so much better. And universal consciousness is not really, no, sorry. No, you have free will, so technically speaking, you could go back there. But now that you're more aware, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right in your body. It doesn't feel right in your mind. It doesn't feel right in your spirit. It doesn't feel right in your heart. And so when you encounter all these crazy things that are happening, and honestly, there will be people there that will just show up out of the blue to push your buttons. They will just show up. You're like, I thought I mastered this. I thought I got this. I thought I was in a place where I didn't need to judge people. And then all of a sudden, all these people come and you find yourself judging people, in a big way. It's not even in a little small way. You see someone walking by and you're like, ew, I don't like her shoes. It's in a huge way. It's oh my God, this person is so irritating. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with them? Oh my gosh, why are they near me? Why are they in my space? Why do they have to work with me? Why do they have to drive in front of me? Why is this person always calling me? So it becomes exaggerated, exacerbated, and you're like, I'm going completely nuts. My ego is totally on steroids, and I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. And it can feel like that. It can feel like you're walking through the fire, and everywhere you go, there are people that will show up in your space. There are circumstances that will show up in your space that create these challenges for you, and you're feeling like the ego is just taking over completely because you're finding yourself irritated, impatient, full of judgment, full of irritation, full of annoyances, and where's the peace, right? Where's the peace? Where'd it go? So just know that these are your tests. These are the tests for you to practice your new skills. And they're the tests for me to practice my new skills. They're still coming. Now, here's the beauty in it. The beauty in it is that the more you practice these skills, the shorter duration these annoyances will occur. So the more you practice transcending ego consciousness and shifting from a space of why are these people annoying me and looking at others from a place of judgment and annoyance and impatience and anger and frustration, when you shift from that space to compassion and love and tolerance and non-judgment and understanding, when you start to shift consistently from one space to the other space, the duration of the annoyances tend to shorten, and you won't find yourself with these people or near these people or in situations that are going to trigger the ego in the same way for a lesser amount of time, if that makes sense to you. So the more you hone your skills, then you'll get to a place where you're not as judgmental. You'll get to a place where you're not as focused on me and mine and what's in it for me and why am I not getting what I want. So just know that the process that you're going through now is really normal, and the process that you're going through now is designed to prepare you for higher states of awakening. And it's designed to prepare you to be in a better place, in a better space for yourself and for others. And I'm not going to tell you that it's easy. I'm not, because it has not been easy for me. For me, this transcendence of ego consciousness has been a long duration, and it still shows up. It really does. It still shows up, but I can tell you now that the aha moments and the moments of bringing awareness to the ego state of consciousness come relatively quickly now. So it might come in an hour, it might come in a second, it might come in a minute, it might come in an instant. And don't judge yourself for when those moments occur, and then it takes you a while to be able to bring awareness to your ego state. And so again, be gentle with yourself, be kind with yourself, be gentle with your ego and kind to your ego, and have compassion and love for this inner child within you that just wants to be loved, wants to be accepted, wants to be filled with joy and bliss and happiness and exuberance, and to feel a part of something, to feel a part of a community, to feel like they belong, right? So all these many parts of you, including your ego, your mind, your intellect, your heart, your soul, your body, all of these parts of who you are, they all just want to be loved. They all just want to connect to the light and to a higher state of being and the evolution of your consciousness. They all want that for you. All these parts of you that are comprised together to make you who you are, they all want the same thing for you. And I know it's kind of weird to think of it in that way, but we tend to fight with ourselves, don't we? We really do. We tend to fight with ourselves, and we tend to judge ourselves pretty harshly. I know I do. Like I said, it's been less and less as time has gone on, but it still happens. It still happens when I find myself frustrated with somebody, or I find myself impatient with somebody, or I find myself judging somebody. It's easy to go there. It's easy to get upset with myself and say, hey, wait a minute, you're a spiritual teacher. You shouldn't have to go there. And sometimes I do go there, and I allow myself to go there for just a little bit. And then once I allow myself to go there, I bring it back to the other side and say, hey, you know what? This is a person. This is a child of God. This is a person with a soul. This is someone who is connected to me, because we're all connected, right? In divine consciousness, we're all one, right? You know that. So think about it this week. Think about it. Don't judge yourself too harshly. Bring awareness to the ego. Know that you're not going to crush the ego. Know that it's here to stay. It's your friend. It's your friend, but just love it and bring awareness to it and counsel it and say, I love you. I'm here for you. We're going to make a better choice this time. We're going to make a better choice. We're going to make a choice that's going to not only make us happy, the person here, but we're going to help to make others happy, and we're going to help to elevate the consciousness of the world, and we're going to make the collectivity happy. And this is our journey now. This is our journey now. So thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel below. Share this video with friends, family, and your yoga dog. Please leave comments below, questions, concerns, and thank you for pledging your support on Patreon. These videos wouldn't be possible if it weren't for viewers like you who pledge $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month, whatever you feel is the value that these videos bring to you and your life. www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin, and I will see you in the next video.